This started when my dad passed away a couple of years ago. He'd been the one holding our family up, working overtime to keep us afloat. My mom, 57, hadn't had a job for over a year at that point and never bothered to try looking for one. So when he passed, I, 21 female, was the only one working. I'm still working there, but it was and still is less profitable than my dad's job. We, mom, brothers and I, moved and received the life insurance money not long after. At this point, I'd already spent most of my savings helping us move and pay the last couple of months' rent and groceries we needed to survive. Of all this money I spent trying to help, I was told I would get every penny back. I've received maybe $100 so far. I was 18 at this point, and a lot of pressure has been put on me to fill my dad's role as caretaker for a while. Something I felt I shouldn't have to do at that age, or even now for that matter. Throughout the past year and a half, she's been terrified of any expense that wasn't absolutely essential. Tyres for her car went onto my credit card. At this point I didn't have my own car, so she was my transportation. A security system for our house, almost $400 of expense, which still hasn't been set up, also fell on me. Life continues like this for a while. The insurance money lasted us a while up until very recently. Then she waited until after our rent was due to tell me she didn't have any money and needed help with rent. At this point, I've just purchased my first car and paying for our phone, internet, car and the past few months of utilities. I was able to pitch in $300 towards rent, but the rest had to go elsewhere. She asked me to apply for a loan when she told me she didn't have rent money. She says she's been applying to jobs but hasn't gotten anything back from any of them. I don't believe her. She's not sick, not disabled. Basically, it hasn't really gone anywhere whenever we do talk about her employment. I told my few closest friends what was going on and my job. I was approved for overtime at work, but even with that, I'd still have to work a second job to get my family through. My friends have finally had it with how I've been forced into the caretaker role, and one of them spoke with their landlord about the potential of letting me rent a room like he is. I was given an offer of $400 a month. I'm ready to move through with it. Mom doesn't know anything yet. At this point in time, after keeping track of everything I've been promised I'd be paid back for, I'm owed over $10,000. So my question is, am I the idiot for leaving my brothers and jobless mom behind to start independently because I can no longer afford to live with them? Edit, both of my brothers are still in high school. The 19-year-old wants to go to college to teach. Not sure how it'll go with that, but I obviously wish him the best with it. As for the teen, he's been in and out of doctor's offices and appointments a lot over the past few months. I don't really expect either of them to work. I started by choice and I hope they take their education to college. But just like with me, it's not their responsibility. For some reason, Mother seems to see that as it should be mine but not theirs because they're not working. Not the idiot. Spoiler alert, she hasn't been applying to jobs. She wanted you to take out the loan not only because she wouldn't be approved for one, but also because it would make you the one responsible for paying it back instead of her. Don't do it. I find it hard to believe that a single place has not called her back in a year and a half of applying to jobs. I can also not imagine placing the burden of supporting a household of 4 people for a 21-year-old or being comfortable racking up credit card debt on my child's dime. You are not the idiot. I talk to her and say something like, Mom, I love you, but I've spent over $10,000 trying to help this family get back on its feet and I can't do it anymore. You're not your father. Your mom is living off your back. I'm sad to say it, but she's basically leeching you. It's not your responsibility to martyr yourself for these parasites. Your mother and the 19-year-old can get jobs. They just don't want to. Your relatives are using you. Get out now while it's only $10,000 because it will only get better and you'll never see a penny of it back. Go. Start to live your own independent life. Exactly. Get out now before that $10,000 turns into $100,000 and do what you can for your brothers, but unless you want to have your mom living off you forever, just leave now while you can. Your mother took advantage of your dad and now she's taking advantage of you. I highly recommend taking this new apartment and focusing first and foremost on supporting yourself. If something were to happen to you tomorrow, your mother would start job hunting and your siblings would look for part-time jobs and they'd work it out. I, female 36, have 4 children, male 22, female 21, female tween and female toddler. My oldest children are married and recently had children. My son and my daughter-in-law have a baby and my daughter and son-in-law have a toddler daughter and she's currently pregnant. The problem lies when my son and daughter-in-law confronted me and my husband on why we're so much closer to my daughter and her family. When my daughter gave birth, she wanted me in the delivery room with her, so I knew her firstborn since the day she was born, and my husband and I are obsessed with her. The exact opposite was for my son and daughter-in-law. They didn't even tell us their son was born until almost a week after. That was fine since that was their choice. What made the boat tip was when my family would ask when we could meet the baby, and they told us we couldn't see the baby until he was older. This did confuse us since her parents were able to meet him the same day he was born, but we didn't question it. So we didn't meet him until Mother's Day. This year, my son and his family decided to visit with the baby. The baby was cute and I tried to bond with her, but my daughter-in-law didn't even let us hold her. Anyway, I showed my son and his family around because my house has changed a lot since I last saw them. Everything was fine until they saw my daughter's children had a playroom and bedroom in my home. They asked if their son had a room in my home, and I said no because this was the first time I'd seen him in person. My daughter-in-law got upset and said that it didn't matter because I should be treating my grandchildren equally, and for the whole day I've been showing my daughter's kids more attention. I then told her that my husband and I have been trying to bond with their kid, but we aren't even allowed to hold him, and that she was crazy to think he would have a room here when we probably aren't going to see him again until Christmas. She got upset and dragged my son and their kid out of the house. I thought everything was fine until on Facebook I saw her making posts about bad grandmothers directed towards me, and I'm starting to feel bad. So, am I the idiot? Edit. In no way have I done anything to my son and daughter-in-law. My daughter-in-law and I were very close until they got married. She was over at my house almost every day while they were dating. I even took her in when she was having family issues. Treated her like my own when she and my son would break up. The only disagreement was when she kept taking my son back. That did cause me and my son to stop talking for a bit. I didn't want her to marry my son because of the way he treated her and carried himself. I love my son, but he was cheating on her and consistently breaking up with her for small things. I've tried to get my son help, but he refuses, so our relationship is strained. Once they got married, they weren't very close to me anymore. I've always invited them over and let them know my home is always open, but they declined any offer and stopped seeing my family until their recent visit. OP said her son was cheating on daughter-in-law and breaking up over small things. Seems like OP isn't the type of mom where her precious son is always right, which gives OP a ton of credibility with me. However, something feels like it's missing. And honestly, I bet if they arrived at your house and discovered a room set up for their baby that you haven't even met yet, they, or likely she, would have freaked out about it anyway, because it'd be a tad weird. How are you supposed to have bonded and have a relationship with a child you haven't been able to see? Daughter-in-law sounds like a nightmare. It sounds like what's missing is the daughter-in-law's psychiatric diagnosis. Why she got married to a man who was toxic and consistently breaking up with her for small things and cheated on her. It turns out the idiot is your son who did something to his wife, and you not being close or liking him as much as your daughter is a direct consequence of his actions. You are not the idiot. You're closer to the grandchild you see regularly and have been allowed to have an active role in their life. It'd be different if you just hadn't bothered to see your son's child, but you've tried, and they've actively blocked you from doing it. I think daughter-in-law just found out that her actions have consequences and doesn't like it. Oh my god, that's absolutely a missing reason. Your daughter-in-law is probably keeping you at arm's length while expecting you to play nice because you're associated with her husband, who cheated on her. That doesn't make her correct about how she's going about the favoritism discussion, but it does explain a lot here, especially if you don't agree with your son while she's still supporting him here. Daughter-in-law needs mental help if she's mad at OP, but fine with her husband. My wife has been sad and upset about how I overlooked getting a gift for her on Mother's Day. We welcomed our first kid a few months ago, so she's a first-time mom. The reason I didn't get her a gift wasn't because I don't love her or anything. I always get her gifts on her birthdays and our anniversary. I also get her a gift on Women's Day. I didn't get one for Mother's Day because it's about honouring my mom. So like she get her mom a gift, I get my mom a gift. But my wife's not my mom. She's my wife. She said that's not how it works and that she's the mother of my kid and she would like to be honoured on that day by me too. I told her that she'll be honoured when our kids grow and shower her with gifts. I just don't understand why I have to get her a gift as well because she's my wife, not my mom. And by that logic, I should get gifts to all the moms I know, including my friends and my sisters. She said I can't be seriously comparing her to her friends and sisters and insisted I'm the mother of your kid. She also brought up how her dad always got Mother's Day gifts for his wife and his mom, and all the men she knows do that, and she's hurt to see me dismissing her feelings. I grew pretty tired of that argument and left because she was acting so materialistic over this. I told my mom about it, and she said that my wife was a crybaby. My 2 sisters were also present when I visited my mom, and they started cussing me out, saying I was an idiot. There was a whole argument between my mom, me, and my sister, with my sister saying that my mom and I are ridiculous and unreasonable. You are the idiot. Mother's Day is about honouring mothers. It's not like you're opposed to the holiday. You do get your own mom a gift. You should have gotten her something to celebrate her being a mom to your child. People celebrate their moms, their friends who are their moms, their aunts and grandmothers, and honorary moms. That's what the day is about. This being her first Mother's Day just made it worse. And then you run home to Mama to get validation for your lack of celebrating your wife. Dude, seriously. Are you really making such a big deal about spending $50 on flowers and some nice chocolate and a heartfelt card? That's some gross mama's boy garbage logic you got there. You better adult up real soon, or your wife is going to get really tired of taking care of 2 kids when she only signed up for 1 at the moment. So please go buy her something nice, write a beautiful card, go home to your wife if she hasn't kicked you out yet, and sincerely apologise to her. Giving birth is a physically and emotionally taxing process. And the adjustment for someone relying on you for their every need, as well as being constantly sleep-deprived, means that she probably had a difficult past 3 months. Writing off your wife's reasonable request probably hurt her a lot due to all that, so at the minimum, apologise and get her something. I bet if OP had been the one to go through pregnancy, childbirth and postpartum fun times, he'd be screaming for a Maserati. What an idiot. Dude, sounds like your mum doesn't want to share her day. The way she talks about her daughter-in-law, red flag. You are the idiot, and so is your mother. Listen to your sisters because they're right. Don't be surprised when you get nothing for Father's Day. Sadly, wife seems like she might be the kind of person that, despite OP's terrible behaviour, she'll choose to honour him on Father's Day because that's the right thing to do. Shame on you, OP. You made your wife feel insignificant. Hopefully the child's future stepfather will be a better person. I ride the bus because I can't afford a car, insurance, gas, etc. I'm a 19-year-old female and live in the US, for context. A couple of days ago I was on a bus that wasn't that busy. Not empty, but there were multiple unused seats and no one had to stand. Also, I'd just gone shopping and had heavy bags that were hard to carry and hardly fit in front of my legs. So I sat in one seat and placed my bags on the seat next to me, essentially taking up 2 seats on my own. Since it wasn't crowded when I got in, I didn't see an issue. And as I said, the bags were super heavy and hurt to carry, so I wanted to set them down. The bus ride was long, and as it went on, more and more people got on the bus. It eventually got pretty crowded to the point where some people had to stand up. I didn't ever move my bag or offer the seat to anyone. In my experience, most people don't want to sit next to strangers anyway, and a lot of the time people will end up standing instead of sitting in an empty seat next to someone they don't know. Also, no one said anything to me. At the last stop, which ended at the bus station where pretty much everyone was getting off, someone passive-aggressively told me, "You could have moved your bag and not been inconsiderate and rude. Everyone wants to sit, not just you," or something along those lines. I didn't really respond because I didn't know what to say. The person who said that never asked me to move my stuff, and if they did, I probably would have. So I don't understand how I was being rude. They could have asked during the ride instead of insulting me after it was already done. Buses are also generally first come, first serve, so I think my behaviour was normal. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Don't wait for somebody to ask you to do the right thing. Once the bus started getting more crowded to the point where people were standing, you should have moved your bags. You shouldn't have to be asked to do so, it's just common courtesy. Wow, I really thought it would be another one where some creep made her move her bags when there were empty seats because he wanted to sit next to the young girl. But nope, as soon as the bus fills up, you move your stuff. You might rather stand, but many people would way rather sit. I have a feeling this incident is the first time OP has ever been held accountable for anything in her life. People don't want to sit by a stranger meant, I don't want a stranger to sit by me. How can you be 19 and not understand that this is incredibly rude and selfish? You cannot use the seat for your stuff while people are standing. You should have cleared the seat without having to be asked. You should have moved your bags to your lap to give someone the option to sit down. I'm sure that if you were one of those people standing up on a crowded bus, you'd want to sit down and relax. I'm finding myself in a bit of family drama, and I'm not sure if I'm the one at fault here. I, 26 female, have been engaged to my partner, 27 male, for over a year. We've been meticulously planning our dream wedding, which is scheduled for later this year. It's been stressful, but we're both super excited. Now on to the issue at hand. My younger sister, Emily, 24 female, announced last week that she's pregnant. It was a surprise, but our family is supportive and we're all happy for her. The problem? The due date is just a few days before my wedding. Emily asked me to move my wedding date so she could comfortably attend and enjoy the day. She fears she'll either be heavily pregnant or just have given birth around my wedding date. I was shocked by her request. We've booked the venue, sent out invites, arranged catering and everything else. Plus, our wedding date has a special significance to us. It's the anniversary of when we first met. I refused and told Emily that while I understand her concern, it's not feasible to reschedule everything now. She didn't take it well and said I was selfish, prioritizing my wedding over her first child. My parents are trying to stay neutral, but I can tell they're upset with the situation too. So now I'm getting the cold shoulder from Emily and some passive-aggressive comments from my relatives. I'm feeling guilty and second-guessing my decision, but I feel like I'm being asked to give up a lot here. So, am I the idiot for not changing my wedding date for my sister's pregnancy? Not the idiot. I've been planning this day for 18 months, you've only been planning it for 9. So please move your delivery date up a month or 2 instead. Anyone who complains, you can ask for a refund for all the deposits you'd lost for cancelling. I know that's not your only reason, but maybe it will shut them up. As you pointed out, not only is the date important to you and your intended, but a substantial amount of money has already been spent. This is your wedding and is one of the most important days of your life with the person you love. However, your sister's impending delivery of a child is her business, not yours, and you're under no obligation to change long-standing plans because she demands it. Exactly, she's pregnant, not disabled. Women are perfectly capable of doing things up to and including on their due date. They're also perfectly capable of going out and about with a newborn if they're comfortable with that. Unless it's a high-risk pregnancy or other complications, she needs to suck it up. Her pregnancy doesn't make her more important than you.